Hello Year 6, it's Wednesday the 24th of February and today we are looking at Kidnapped for the last time and we are summarising the events in the story today. Now at the bottom, the last couple of sentences in our story, it says here, amazingly, the next day there I was in the local paper, a hero. So what I thought would be really nice to do, as you can see with what we have sent you, is that we're going to make that local news report showing how Ron is the hero and explaining what he did. Now I have given you this writing format, this structure. There are prompt questions and helpful hints here as to what you would write in each of these sections or paragraphs. You don't have to write on this. If you would rather write on lined paper without being constrained with the size of these sections, that is absolutely fine. If you would like to write on the sheet, again, that is absolutely fine. So what I've done is, if you come up with I think of a good headline, is this is a very bad example of what we'd expect from you. This would not be a very good news report at all because it is just filled with keywords. I'm not even sure I like my headline at the moment because it's a bit boring. Girl rescued. I'm wondering, could we go a bit better than that? So let's just concentrate first on the headlines. I've given you a couple of examples here. We've got local boy hero, something that is eye-catching, something that gets the reader's attention, not too wordy, but tells us a little bit about why this boy is a hero, because here, girl rescued doesn't necessarily tell us about the boy. I've gone with a funny one here, so from chips to caviar, a local hero story. So he went from going out to get chips, didn't he, to then having a lovely banquet as his reward from the American ambassador. I've then gone with a local, because he's a local boy, a local knight in shining armour. And then I've gone with a little bit of alliteration, Ambassador hails boy hero. Now, I think you could even do better than what I've come up with there, so I'll leave that up to you, Year 6, to see what headlines you come up with. But I think I'm going to go with my from chips to caviar, because it's a bit fun. From chips to caviar, a very rich and wealthy meal choice. From chips to caviar, a local boy's story. Okay, so there is my news headline. I wouldn't have a headline that was any wordier than that. Now, remembering this isn't actually a writing lesson, so we're not going to focus too much on all the technical content of a newspaper report, but we're just going to go with the loose, the information that's based on the prompts I've given you. Okay, so we have to go back to our news report. When did this happen? And again, going back from our sequencing activity, would I say it was half an hour ago in a news report? I wouldn't. What time of day was it? Well, there was a light on at the window. He was going out to get chips, so we have to assume there that it was in the evening time. So I've said evening. Now, just writing one word isn't acceptable here, so what I've done is I've pre-made some content that might work there, that you might wish to have as well. So yesterday evening, a girl was rescued after being kidnapped. Now, who? So these are now useful prompts to remind you of how you would then turn this into a little bit more, a couple of sentences, lots more information about our news story. So who was kidnapped? The girl. Where was she held? Well, I've put there an old house. So if I elaborate on that information, the girl had been kidnapped and held in a house. Now here I've made up a road, Maple Avenue, because in a newspaper you want to give your reader as much information as possible, don't you? So I have I haven't even inferred that, I have just made that up to work for a newspaper article. But what I am going to do though is I do need to elaborate on the girl, because I know more information about the girl, and this might also help to explain why she was kidnapped. So the girl, and here I'm going to embed a clause, who is the daughter of the American ambassador, comma. So I've got my embedded clause now in some commas. So the girl, who is the daughter of the American ambassador, had been kidnapped and held in a house on Maple Avenue. So now I've answered these two questions, and it is important to give as much information as we can. So do lift as much information, retrieve those facts from the text. Okay, why did the kidnapping take place? Now, I briefly mentioned this on Monday, that we need to think about why. Why would an American ambassador, why would his daughter be kidnapped? Why did this crime happen in the first place? And I've got a keyword here, ransom. And that means holding someone or something for money, so for some kind of gain. So if I elaborate on what I think there, you might have a different reason, but I've kind of summed it up like this. So I think sort of a little bit of my cohesion here. So due to the girl being the daughter of the rich and powerful ambassador, it can only be assumed that the kidnappers were holding her for ransom. So that's my line of thinking there. That's my inference and a deduction of what I think, because she is this powerful man's daughter. Why is the boy a hero? Well, because Ron rescued her. Now I have elaborated here. I've gone into news mode, and I've put a local boy, Ron Jones. So here I have made up his surname. A local boy, Ron Jones, 15 years old, saw the girl at an upstairs window and bravely entered the house. After a close encounter with the kidnappers, he, that's not the word I was managed to stay hidden, and subsequently helped the daughter get away to freedom. And there I've talked about, if we go back to the text, I've talked about this section here that we read first in the story, where the kidnappers have returned, they've come into the room, but they are hiding. So there is our close encounter with the kidnappers. And that helps to add to the story of, why is this boy a hero? Because he was really brave. He hid from the kidnappers, not only just rescuing, he had a close encounter with them. So we're trying to make it a bit more dramatic, everyone. Now this is a bit of a rubbish answer here. How was the boy rewarded? Dinner. Well, that's not actually the word that's used in the text, is it? It wasn't just dinner. If we go back to the last part here. Half an hour after that, her dad arrived in a shiny embassy limousine. That night, it wasn't just chips for tea. He took us all out for a huge banquet. So I have already told you banquet means dinner, and here I've just summed that up with this. So upon hearing the welcome news that his daughter had been heroically rescued from the clutches, sorry, I can't type here, of the greedy kidnappers, the ambassador rewarded the boy's entire family with a banquet that was fit for a king. I've got a few issues with my grammar and my spelling. Ambassador. There we go. Obviously I was doing that on purpose to see if you'd spot the errors, everyone, of course. Okay, so if you then read that through, it might not be the best piece of writing, but as I said, this isn't a writing lesson. This is getting the key information from the text to summarise this really good news story as to why this boy is a hero. So read that through, check you're happy with your answers, and then your job, I'll take that one away from you now, your job is to use the text and answer that in your own way. And we look forward to reading your news reports, everyone. Good luck.